Hello, how are we doing, everybody? Jimmy, the Scottish Geek guy here, just having a look, making sure that we can see and hear everything. Everything looks good at my end, so hopefully you guys can see and hear me. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if everything is audible and visible. That's probably the word to use. Yeah, so we're doing the kind of monthly everything I watched in insert previous month live stream. It's my way of keeping kind of in touch with everyone, but also I like to experiment and mess around with different live stream gadgets and techniques because that's kind of part of my day job, and you can't really, for a paid live stream or live production job, you can't really mess about and try out new gear. So this YouTube channel is a good fun place to try and do that. So let's jump into the comments and see who's kicking about here. Let's see, who do we have? We've got Cheekster, Treble 7. How are we doing? Thanks for tuning in. I think Cheekster was on a recent live stream I did with Andy, the Electric Geek, which was good fun. That was a really good fun live stream. That was Wednesday, I think, Wednesday or Thursday last week, where we talked about the current state of cinema and posed the question. Well, the initial plan was to talk about just to talk about the question and discuss, are cinemas dying? We kind of talked about that, but we kind of devolved into a bit of a ramble and talked about many different things. So thanks for tuning in, Cheekster. Let's see, we've got Josh Temple, Never Fear, Mad is here, Arvin Sharp at the ready. Not sure if that's a good thing, but thanks for tuning in, and hopefully you won't have to harpoon me. I was trying to think of a funny pun there, but nothing came to me. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. We've got Wilkie's Movies Music. Hey Corey, how are we doing? I've also just realised that this live stream is probably at the same time as a Euros game. I don't follow football at all. Couldn't tell you who's playing. I know that Scotland are playing in the Euros. Half of my friends and family are in Germany watching the Euros, so they won't be tuning in. But to be fair, most of my friends and family still don't actually know that I've got a YouTube channel. But let me know, Corey, in the States, how does your average American or your average American sports fan, do they follow the Euros? The Euros is like kind of like the World Cup, but just for Europe, as I understand it. Like I said, I'm not much of a football fan, hence why I'm on YouTube talking about movies while the Euros are on right now. So thanks to everyone who's not watching the football and tuning in here. It's very much appreciated. Cheekstar says we can see and hear all good. Corey does as well. Thanks very much. Thumbs up, thumbs up. And we've got Total Movie Recall in here as well, loud and clear. And we've got the Yorkshire Geek. Hope you're having a great day / evening / night. Yep, all good here. As I said, most of everyone I know, my fellow countrymen, are either watching or in Germany for the Euros. But yeah, I'm not a football guy, so I'm just here to talk about movies and geek stuff. Corey's saying not heard much coverage of it. Just because I haven't heard anything doesn't mean much. Yeah, I'm always curious. Like I know that the World Cup, like the World Cup of football or soccer, for the for the North American folks. I know that the World Cup is obviously a worldwide thing, but the Euros, the clue's in the name, that's just really for Europe. But I wondered like how far it travels. Anyway, we're not here to talk about football. Josh is saying most people in the west coast of the States are more football people. Now, when you say football, do you mean like my football? What, my football? Like soccer football or American football? I think his next comment answers that question. Proper football, that is. Not getting in that debate. Like I said, I don't even care about football, be it American or, European. It's, not something I'm that fussed about. Not soccer. And we've Gareth jumping in. How are we doing, Gareth? Thanks very much for tuning in. I was on a live stream with Gareth last week, I think, where we did a watch along with Manhunter, the Michael Mann, Hannibal Lecter Red Dragon movie, that I still to this day don't think many people are aware of it compared to the actual, you know, Red Dragon movie that came out some years later. But Manhunter, the Michael Mann movie, isn't one to be slept on. It's a very good movie. But anyway, let's jump straight in. Let's start off with the everything I watched in May list. So not officially sponsored by Letterboxd at all, but I use Letterboxd to remind myself of everything that I watch because I'm old and my memory isn't what it used to be. Not that it was ever fantastic, but I discovered Letterboxd not long after I started YouTube, probably about a year ago to this month. I think I probably discovered Letterboxd, and started YouTube and discovered Letterboxd. It's a great app / site to just keep track of everything you watch. So I've probably missed a few because even though having the Letterboxd app does help, I am old. But the first one I remembered to log last month was The Fall Guy. So let's jump into that. So I quite enjoyed The Fall Guy. I saw it in the cinema with my partner. She enjoyed it as well. I was amazed that it didn't do that well box office wise. I think whether I give it, I give it 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So 7 out of 10 would be my rating system. Did I do a review? I don't think I did. I started taking notes to write a review, but I think that week I was too busy with the day job and whatnot to sit down and do a proper YouTube review. So I didn't do a full review of the bring up something bigger here. Yeah, of The Fall Guy. But yeah, I was really surprised that it didn't do that well. Hang on, let me take Gareth's comment off. There we go. Yeah, I was surprised it didn't do that well, box office wise. But also the fact that they didn't pull it from cinemas, but I think within 21 or 22 days, they had put it on streaming, on premium home video, home demand, which different platforms call it different things. But basically, you could officially pay to rent The Fall Guy less than a month after it was released in cinemas, and while it was still in cinemas. Like, you could go and see it at the cinema, or you could pay to watch it at home. It was quite surprising and maybe a little bit concerning about the future of cinema, which again takes me to the topic on the Electric Geeks live stream that is linked on my channel somewhere. I'll put it in the description below as well, where we talk about the current state of cinema. I think we touched on The Fall Guy briefly, but yeah, I thought it was a perfectly, acceptable, good movie, a solid 7 out of 10 or 3.5 out of 5. It was enjoyable. It's it's not going to bother any Oscars or anything like that. It's not an original story. It's based on a TV show from the 80s, maybe the 70s. I didn't actually know it was based on a TV show until after the fact. I think when I was chatting to someone else on YouTube, they were saying, yeah, it's based on a TV show. So I didn't know that, but it was perfectly enjoyable. The two leads are great. It's one of those movies that just, it's a star-powered movie. The natural charm and charisma of both the leads, both Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling. The movie just is propelled by them. Yeah, I really did enjoy it. Was surprised it didn't do that well, and really surprised that it was, I don't want to say dumped on streaming, but I was really surprised how quickly it went on streaming. Yeah, that was interesting. That was interesting. Let's jump back into the comments here, see if anyone else has watched Fall Guy. If you're in the comments and you're watching and you've seen Fall Guy, let me know your thoughts on that. We'll get Retro64 saying, okay. Yeah, we'll leave the casual, stereotypical comments for me. Thank you very much, pal. Cheekstar watched and enjoyed The Fall Guy twice at the cinema. Wow, okay. IMAX with Laser GT at the Super Screen, Leicester Square, London. Yeah, IMAX Laser is quite a nice screen. We've got one in Glasgow at a Silverburn Cineworld. Say that 3 times fast. It really is a good screen, the IMAX Laser. did I see it in that? I think we just saw it in a regular cinema screen. Well, let's see, Cheekster is Emily Blunt, lovely as usual. 8 out of 10. That's quite high. That's quite high praise. Like I'd need to see a bunch of your other ratings to judge where your mind is. Like, does everything get an 8 out of 10? Like a couple of my kids, it's either a 10 out of 10 or a 0 out of 10. Whenever I ask them to rate movies, there's nothing in between. So yeah, let me know what some of your other thoughts are on other movies. Cheekster used to watch the TV show as a kid, but treated this as if it had nothing to do with the TV show. Did it have anything to do with the TV show? I don't think it did. I think it was just using the same general story and the same title. Or was it even the same title? What was it called? The Fall Guys? Not sure. Like I said, I didn't actually watch it. So yeah, that was. Let's go back here. Where are we? Super Source. Where did you go? Yeah, that was the first movie that we watched in May. And if we go back over to have a look, let's see. Yeah. So the night after, we watched Major League, and I should have a shot of that here. Yeah. So Major League was a steelbook that I had recently got. Hang on, can I put that on screen with both of them? Let me play about with this. Put that one there, put that one there. That's not the one I want. Bear with me, folks, while I mess about with this. We want that to be 4, and we want that to be 3. There we go. That kind of works. Yeah, the 4K steelbook for Major League, I had been looking forward to getting that for a long, long time. It was, and still is, one of my favourite movies. I think I said when I talked about the steelbook and did an unboxing, which you can find on the channel somewhere, there's no reason that a kid from Scotland should fall in love with a movie about baseball, but I did. I can't remember where I first seen it. It would have been probably just on television, but I just loved that movie when I watched it, probably as a 10, 11, 12-year-old. Something about it was just kind of charming and funny. It's a funny movie. Knew nothing about baseball as a kid, but you don't need to know much about baseball to enjoy Major League, even though it's about baseball. Yeah, the 4K transfer on it, for the kind of the technical geeks like myself out there, the 4K transfer on Major League is actually really, really good. It's a solid, let me go back to here, I would say it's a solid 8 out of 10 movie for me. The sequel, which we'll get to in a minute, less so, and then the other sequel, Back to the Minors, even less so. But yeah, really big fan of Major League. The 4K transfer is brilliant. It is a really good, we'll go back to here, it's a really good looking steelbook. It's designed after Serrano's Locker. It comes with a bunch of stickers that you can stick on to the steelbook. Yeah, great movie and a great steelbook. Did anyone else pick up the Major League 4K steelbook, or has anyone else even seen it? I think it's a fairly popular movie, especially in the States, I would imagine. Let me know in the comments if anyone has seen it. We'll jump back in. I think someone is saying here, yeah, Cody's seen it. Major League, always a fun one. Yeah, I just loved it. There's no reason a kid from Scotland should love a baseball movie, but loved it from the moment I first saw it, 30 odd years ago, maybe even more than that. Let's see, we've got Cheekster. Would say the PLF did bump the score, maybe 1 extra mark. The PLF. We're talking about the Fall Guy, and I'm having a bit of a brain fog here because I'm not sure what the PLF means. Was that a reference in the movie? You're going to need to help me out with that one, Cheekster. Retro 64, you're Scottish. You need to stop, perpetrating these stereotypes, man. Like, it's okay for us to say okay to each other, but when we're on YouTube and we're chatting with these Americans, man, just, tone that down a wee bit until we both get really drunk. I don't actually drink, other than I am brew. let's see, we've got Kenny Sparks jumping in. How we doing? Kenny put up a review just recently of, what was it that we watched more or less the same time? Yeah, Hitman. And I think he was quite up on it, as was I. It's a good review. Check out his channel. I'm not going to talk too much about Hitman because that's a June movie, and we're just talking about the May movies. Just stopping in to say hello. Thanks very much for stopping in, bud. Thank you very much indeed. We've got Mockingbird saying, only watched recently as an adult but loved Major League. Yeah, it's a very, very charming movie. I think you'd have to have a heart of stone to not find something enjoyable in the first Major League, at least. Josh, been years since I watched it, but it was good, but more an outdoorman than a sports guy. More an outdoorsman, right? I like camping and in the woods and stuff like that. Yeah, that's not for me. I'm I don't mind going for a wee walk in the woods and stuff like that, but like I want to go to like a wee bed and breakfast or a basic hotel at the end of the night. I'm not much for sleeping rough and camping. Did it as a kid a couple of times, as a teenager, but that was for different reasons. Premium large formats, yes, I should know that. I should absolutely know that. PLF stands for premium large formats. So, Cheekster, I'm right in saying you're talking about Fall Guy. You saw it in premium large format, which would be like, IMAX, super screen. Does the Odeon iSense count as that? See, here's the thing. For the UK guys, Odeon iSense. So I normally go to Cineworld. I'm a Cineworld card holder. But there is the odd time I'll jump into the Odeon if there's a movie there and the time fits better for the family and whatnot. But I tried iSense at the Odeon and I just didn't see anything different. I was not impressed at all. It wasn't a huge screen for a start. It was a tiny screen. So I don't actually know what iSense is. It definitely didn't seem like it was worth any of the extra money. Any of the UK guys who have been to iSense at Odeon, let me know what the deal with that is, because I don't get what you're paying for. Like super screen, IMAX, 4DX, like I get that. But what's iSense and why are we paying extra for that? Akib X, love the channel, man, super cool. It's very kind of you. Thanks very much. I know Akib in real life. We've worked on some shoots together. He's actually got quite a cool channel to check out if you want to check that out as well. He has an insanely viral video from a couple of years ago to do with Cobra Kai, which is very awesome. So go and check that out. I think now he's focusing more on like filmmaking techniques and podcasting and whatnot. Yorkshire Geek, as usual, I suspect I will have seen hardly of the films on the list. 0 for 2 so far. Well, you never know, big man. We might get to one that you've seen. It's usually, on any given month, it's usually 50-50 new movies, cinema movies that I watch, and random old movies. I'll be amazed if you haven't seen the next movie or one of the movies that's coming up. On the list in a little minute here. I'm just going to battle through the rest of the comments before I go to the next movie. Favourite May movies are Turtles All the Way Down, Furiosa, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Okay, so quickly on that note, Turtles All the Way Down. Don't know what that is. Haven't heard of it. Haven't seen it. I'm assuming it's not a sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutant Mayhem or any of the other Turtles movies, because then I would have seen them. Furiosa, I am one of the few who didn't really gel with that movie. I think I gave it 6 out of 10, just didn't vibe with it at all. For context, Fury Road, 9 out of 10 from me. Furiosa, 6 out of 10, just didn't vibe with it. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I am sad and ashamed to say I still haven't had the chance to see that. I almost dragged my 10-year-old to see that today because we had a 3-hour window this evening, like late this afternoon, while my youngest was in gymnastics, and I was like, I'm really wanting to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. He doesn't, he would enjoy going to the cinema, getting a pick and mix and watching a movie, but he's like, it's not like he's desperate to see that, and he has seen 0 of the other 3 movies. But yeah, I still haven't seen that. I'm kind of desperate to see it before it leaves cinemas. Am I going to get to see it this week? I don't think I will. I might have to wait until that's on home video, but looking forward to that. I've heard mostly good things about it. Yeah. Let me know in the comments if you've seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Does it hold up? Is it as good as the other 3? Because Dawn, Rise and War, especially Dawn and War, they are brilliant movies, like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, and 8 out of 10, I would say. I really liked the new Planet of the Apes movies. Let's see, Josh Temple, played sports as a kid, more of a wrestler, not into sports shows. I'm assuming you mean like amateur wrestling and not, Stone Cold Steve Austin WWE style, which is topical because here in Scotland we just had our first ever pay-per-view from WWE, Clash at the Castle. Big Drew McIntyre, or Drew Galloway as we used to know him, was in his hometown performing at the Hydro, which was pretty special. I was working, couldn't go, so I was gutted. But based on how much the prices were for those tickets, I probably wouldn't have been able to go anyway. Cheekstar saying, wait, did I miss a comment there? Sorry, Josh. Camping, hunting, fishing, off-roading. That all sounds cool. I would love to do that for a day and then go back to a bed somewhere with a shower. So, if you can sort that, I'm there. Let's see what's next. Kenny Sparks, forgot about Fall Guy, loved that one too. Yeah, everyone who I've spoke to who watched it enjoyed it. I just think the problem is not enough people went to see it, so they kind of put it on streaming right away. I don't know what the box office numbers are, but I imagine it's not doing great. It's a shame. It's a shame. Old Yorkshire Geek. Oh, you watched Clash at the Castle? Ah, good stuff. I heard through the grapevine that there was only 5 matches on that show, which seems quite skimpish for a pay-per-view. Yeah, like, unless they were like, quality 30, 40-minute matches each. But yeah, only 5 matches on a pay-per-view seems quite skimpish. What did you make of the pay-per-view? Like, it's the first time they've done a pay-per-view from Scotland, from not just from that venue, but from any Scottish venue. It's a good venue, the Hydro. I've been to a good few gigs and events there. But I'm assuming, Yorkshire Geek, my man, that you probably have watched WWE for some time and you've watched many pay-per-views. How did that pay-per-view compare to your average pay-per-view? Like the venue, the production value, the show itself, the fact that they only did 5 matches. My mate told me who was there, seems like they were kind of shortchanging the Scottish audience a little bit. Let me know. Kenny Sparks, Turtles All the Way Down. Lol, I wish it was about the TMNT, but nah, it's a slice of comedy about crushing slice of life comedy about crushing anxiety. That sounds like a barrel of laughs. Is it a documentary or is it a drama, like a fictional movie? And is it any good? If it's good, I might check it out. Let me know. Cheekstar, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was better than the previous. Really? You enjoyed it in IMAX? PLF, Premium Large Format, as I have now remembered. Thank you very much. Better than the previous trilogy. Wow, that's high praise. That's high praise. Again, I think most people... Hang on, while I take a drink from the completely not sponsored by Iron Brew. I'll try not to burp. Yeah, I think everyone who's seen it that I've spoke to seems to have enjoyed it. It looks good. Kevin, the big fella who plays like the main guy, Proxima. Kevin Durand, I think his name is. I've seen a few interviews with him, like on the press tour, and like he seems to be like, charming the pants off everyone. He seems to be having a ball. Seems like he had a ball making the movie, and he's been having a ball on the press tour. So that kind of, whenever you see the actors on the press tour, and they're clearly enjoying promoting the movie, I think that's normally a good sign that it's a good movie. At least they enjoyed making the movie, which hopefully translates to, at least in part, a good movie. Yeah, I'll hopefully get to see it before it leaves the cinema. Kenny Sparks enjoyed Clash at the Castle. Yeah, so let me know. 5 matches. Did it seem like it was only 5 matches? Is that not that big a deal? The 2 guys that I spoke to who were at the show live seemed a bit upset that it was only 5 matches. Total Movie Recall, Clash at the Castle was good, but last night's Raw was great. Good crowd for Scotland though. I haven't watched Raw yet, but I'm probably going to watch it either later tonight or tomorrow. I did see the highlights of who returned and whatnot. I won't spoil that, but that does look cool. I am looking forward to that. Yorkshire Geek, it was a great show with the Scottish wrestlers putting on great performances for the fans. Yeah, this has turned into a bit of a pro wrestling live stream unintentionally, but I do like pro wrestling. It seems like a couple of you guys do as well. We'll get back to the movies very soon, I promise. The Scottish wrestling scene is quite vibrant and quite, what's the word? Fulfilling? Prominent? It's a good, you know, the Scottish wrestling scene, both in terms of like the smaller independent shows, but also the training and the schools that are here are very, very well regarded. ICW, which is a fairly well-known brand now, that's a Scottish show. I actually, many moons ago, like we're talking 15 years ago maybe, I was one of the camera guys filming the ICW shows and PBW and W3L and shows like that. Like I remember filming Drew McIntyre, Drew Galloway, as he wrestled when he's not in WWE. I remember filming not his first matches, but like, you know, some of his matches in his first few years for ICW in a community hall in front of like 12 people. I think Wolfgang, wrestler called Wolfgang, who's also part of the Gallus crew in WWE. So like I've kind of known that crowd through just being one of the camera guys at the early shows for quite a while. So to see some of them do so well, especially Big Drew, it really is quite cool to see. Let's jump back into the comments. I'm going to blast through them and then move on to the rest of the May watch list. So Yorkshire Geek Raw was great. Non-2024 movies I saw in May were Bad Boys 1 and 2, both excellent. Alien 3, Fury Road is excellent. Alien 3, which version did you watch? Did you watch the kind of the director's cut that's like got some unfinished CGI in it and changes the stuff about, or was it the regular theatrical cut? They're both interesting. I think the director's cut, or the alternative cut, it may be officially called, I think that's a better movie. I think that's the one where the alien actually, it doesn't come out of the dog, it comes out of the cow. Yeah, you watch Fury Road, Seven, awesome movie. They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, I haven't seen that in a long time. And All Dirt Road's Taste of Salt, that's another one I have never heard of. Let me know about the Alien 3 one, I'm curious. Was it the theatrical cut or the alternative cut? Cheekstar, story seemed better, in my opinion, for Kingdom of Apes than the previous Apes movies. That's very promising, because I really did enjoy the previous 3, so that bodes well for this. Backlash in France was only 5 matches. Oh, okay. Maybe that's just the norm that they're doing for these around the world pay-per-views. Yeah. Kenny Sparks, think Kingdom is just a small step below the previous trilogy, but still very good. Even if it is a small step, you know, if it's a small step below an 8 out of 10 movie, that's probably still a good movie. Going to order Iron Brew, you spelled that wrong, mate, this month to try. What flavour do you recommend? So, funny you should mention that. If you scroll down on my channel, you will see I did a blind taste test for the various flavours of Iron Brew. So I won't go into too much info here because you can check out that video. I tend to stick with the sugar-free stuff. I wonder if the autofocus will be good enough for that. If I can hide my eyes. There we go. Come on. There we go. So I tend to stick to the sugar-free stuff because, you know, sugar, calories, teeth, all that jazz. The 3 main flavours is regular, sugar-free, and Iron Brew Extra, which is kind of like their version of Coke Zero. It's a wee bit too fiery for my taste. You've also got Iron Brew 1901, which has more sugar in it. It costs more because of the random sugar tax thing that came out in the UK a while ago. That's a whole other video. And yeah, the Iron Brew stuff, I'll just refer you to the video on my channel. It shouldn't be too hard to find. It's the only video where it's got me on the cover with a whole bunch of cans of Iron Brew doing a blind taste test that I will shout out to my stepdaughter Bonnie. It was her idea to do that, and it was a lot of fun. So thank you very much. Right, let's batter through the comments so we can get to the rest of the movies. 5 matches were enough because the first match lasted a while and the matches were great. Well, that seems fair enough then. Love watching WWE as well. Yeah, I've been a fan of wrestling since the 80s, since the Hogan, you know, Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior days. Dipping in and out as the years go by. Obviously, you know, a huge fan during the Attitude Era up until, you know, not long after the WCW purchase, and then it kind of got crap, stopped watching it, started watching it again for a few years, kind of fell out. I'll dip in and out every now and then. I usually watch Mania and the Rumble every year, and depending on how invested and how good they are, I'll maybe start kind of getting into it again. But year in, year out, I'll dip in and out of watching it. Raw was phenomenal last night, best in a while. But I like Raw in general, like Raw a lot more than SmackDown. I think most people, you know, it's still regarded as the A show, I suppose. Alien 3 with the CGI was interesting, to say the least. It's a fascinating story with Alien 3, like the on the Blu-ray and on the DVD, the collector's set, there's the whole documentary about like what the original concept for Alien 3 was. Like, it was supposed to be like a monk planet where everything was made out of wood and it wasn't prisoners or something like that. It's the behind the scenes, the story of the making of Alien 3 is as interesting as the movie itself. Especially considering I think it was David Fincher's, I think it was his first movie as a director. Yeah, interesting one. Ironically, I just watched, what did I watch on YouTube today that was Alien related? Oh, what's that channel called? Honest Trailers. If you haven't seen the Honest Trailers YouTube channel, get on that, get subscribed. It is hilarious. And for some reason, very recently, one of their most recent uploads was their honest trailer for Alien Resurrection. So I literally watched that today at lunchtime. Very funny, as always. Not sure which cut, but it wasn't great. Did the alien come out of a dog or come out of a cow? If it's the dog, it's the theatrical cut. If it came out of a cow, it's the alternate / director's cut. Sully Streams, how we doing? Thanks very much for tuning in, buddy. Really enjoyed Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Second best of the new movies. Ooh, that's interesting. I'm going to guess the first best, it would be Dawn, the second one, but let me know. Iron Brew sponsorship incoming. Well, you know, I wouldn't say no to some free Iron Brew. Yeah, there we go. That's quite good, that autofocus. That's better than it normally is on the paid jobs. Josh Temple, I remember watching that video you did. Thank you very much. I was so annoyed with myself that I got one wrong. I thought for sure I was going to nail this, because that was kind of like, that was almost the bet that I had with my stepdaughter, because she had said, I can't remember where the idea originally came from or where the concept came from, but basically I said I could tell in a blind taste test every flavour of Iron Brew, and she said, why don't you do a YouTube video? And then I was like, that's a good idea. Zack Attack Reviews. Hey, how we doing, bud? Thanks very much for tuning in. So this is the everything I watched in May video. It kind of became a bit of a WWE love fest for 5 minutes or so there, but we're getting almost on track. Just a couple of comments to get through, and I'll get back to the movies. Kenny Sparks, it came out of the poor dog. So that's the theatrical cut. I think I'm almost sure that's the theatrical cut. If you can track down a copy of the alternative cut of the director's cut, it's not like a bootleg or anything. It's an official, you know, release. It's on at least the Blu-ray box set that came out, the Alien Anthology. It's definitely on that. Check that out if you want to sit through a slightly different version of Alien 3. Well, I say slightly different. I would say it's probably, of all the Alien movies that have the alternate cuts, that's probably the one that's got the most significant changes made to it. It's like if I was showing someone the Alien Anthology from the start, I would definitely show them the alternative cut of Alien 3 and disregard the theatrical cut. Growing up, the only Alien movie I seen was Resurrection. For a long time, I thought that was the only one that existed. Wow. That's a terrible childhood. Imagine growing up with only Alien Resurrection. I genuinely feel sorry for your childhood, mate. That's bad. That's bad. Considering Alien Resurrection is probably the worst. Wait, no, it's not the worst. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. I mean, Aliens is a top 10, maybe even a top 5 movie for me. I got the 4K of it recently. I haven't watched it yet. I've been waiting for the right moment to watch it. Anyway, let's get back to the watch list. Everything I watched in May. So about 4 hours ago, when I started this, we started and we got to Major League. What was after Major League? Major League 2, shocker. So watching Major League 2, I think the day after we watched Major League 1. It's an okay sequel. The thing I remember most about Major League 2 is, and anyone who's watched it probably will be thinking the same thing, the fact that Wesley Snipes was, his character, Willie Mays Hayes, was recast and played by Omar Epps. And that's a tough job for any actor to do. But it kind of feels like he's just literally doing a Wesley Snipes impersonation. And I don't mean that as a compliment. No, I like Omar Epps. He's been in some great movies. His run in ER back in the mid-90s was phenomenal. Anyone who watched ER when it was on and they know his fate, that episode, oh man, that was like one of the most shocking moments in TV. And that was like in, the mid-90s. But yeah, Omar Epps taking on the role of Willie Mays Hayes for Major League 2 pretty much felt like an impersonation of Wesley Snipes. Wasn't great, but the movie itself was okay. It felt like a bit of a watered down, more PG friendly version of Major League 1, but still enjoyable. The annoying thing about that is I went from watching a really good 4K transfer of Major League 1 to watching a really bad Blu-ray transfer on Major League 2. The only Blu-ray version of Major League 2 I could find was actually a German release where you've got Major League 1, Major League 2, Major League 3, and they're all on the one disc. So all three movies compressed onto one disc. I think I might have did a video on that. In fact, I did a comparison video of Major League and 4K on the channel, so that's there somewhere. I'll put that in the description as well. But yeah, that was the quality of that was really bad. So much so that my partner, when we're watching it, who doesn't normally comment on picture quality or anything because she's not a pure geek like I am, but even she was like, "Why is the quality of this so bad?" And I was like, "Right, it's really bad." Yeah. So Major League 2, it's okay. It was okay. What was next? Let's jump back. I'm going to do a couple more. I'll go through a couple more movies and then jump back into the comments. I'll then do Jurassic World Dominion. I remember when we were choosing to watch this. This was, I think we let the kids choose the movie this night. They wanted to watch a Jurassic Park movie. And as much as I love the first Jurassic Park movie, it's genuinely my favourite movie of all time. We'd watched it just recently, but I hadn't actually seen the extended cut of Dominion, even though I'd seen Dominion in the cinema. I think we'd watched it once at home since as well, but hadn't watched the alternative cut. So let me just drop that comment down. We watched the extended cut of Dominion, and I can't really remember anything that was different. I think apart from the opening scene, the prologue from 65 million years ago, I think that was new or extended at least. But other than that, I can't remember anything different about it. Yeah, it was. Did I write a review on this? Edit your review. Let me see. Did I take any notes on this? Yes, I did. Let's have a look at this. Maybe not as bad as I first thought. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed when Dominion came out and I first saw it. Probably the second worst in the franchise. The first worst Jurassic movie for me would be Fallen Kingdom. The first half of that movie is brilliant when they're on the island. When they leave the island and they're in the house and it becomes a haunted mansion movie with dinosaurs instead of Michael Myers, I was kind of like, this is pretty pish, guys. But yeah, Dominion, not as bad as I first thought. The clone stuff, the locust, that was a huge mistake, I think, on the filmmaker's part. Like, no one wants to watch a Jurassic Park movie that's focusing so much on giant locusts. It's a dinosaur movie. We want to watch dinosaurs. That should be obvious. We want dinosaurs. Yeah, there we go. So hopefully with the new Jurassic Park movie that I think is about to start filming, it's apparently slated to come out next July. We'll see if that actually happens. And I think Mahershala Ali, Oscar-winning Mahershala Ali, did he win the Oscar? Was it Green Book he won the Oscar for? He's just signed on to play the lead, which calls into question his Blade movie. The Blade movie. That was apologies. This is going to become a bit of an MCU Blade rant movie for a few minutes, so bear with me. So Marvel announced Blade, starring Mahershala Ali, I think way back in 2019. 5 years ago, they announced this. if I'm right. I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. 5 years ago, they announced Blade, starring Mahershala Ali. Everyone loses their, because they're like, excellent, that sounds like a good idea. As much as there's so much love for the Wesley Snipes Blade movies, well, at least the first two, we don't need to talk about Trinity, because, hang on, let me close my eyes, and then we'll use bad CGI to open my eyes. Just like Blade Trinity. That's a deep cut for anyone who gets that one. Yeah, where was I? So, Mahershala Ali signed up to star in the next Jurassic movie. Does that mean he's just given up on Blade? That's been in the news this week. Something about his lawyer, like, saying bad words about Marvel, or potentially, like, sending letters or suing Marvel or something like that because they've not made this movie. Other than a voice cameo at the end of the Eternals, if anyone stuck around to the end of Eternals, I don't blame you if you didn't. That wasn't exactly great. But you've got the voice of Mahershala Ali's Blade cameoing at the end of the Eternals. And that's it. That's all I've heard. Why am I talking about Blade? I've completely... Yes, so, Jurassic Park, Dominion, that was one of the movies that I watched in May. Mahershala Ali is signed up to star in the next Jurassic movie. We'll see what happens with that. Let's dive quick back into the comments, see what we're chatting about. Yorkshire Geek, Workprint. The Workprint, yes, that's the name that I was thinking of, because it's not quite a director's cut, it's not quite an alternative cut, it's a Workprint. And again, some of the CGI isn't finished and isn't great. But I think it's still, even with the unfinished shots, I think the Workprint version of Alien 3 is a better movie. I'm an unapologetic fan of Alien Resurrection. I think it's probably not as bad as a lot of people make out. There is one action sequence in that I really remember liking as a kid. Well, as a kid, when did that come out? 1998? I would have been 14-ish? 13, 14, 15, something like that. The action scene when the aliens are swimming and jumping up onto the ladder, and then Christie's got the guy on his back, and Ron Perlman does the thing where he, leans back with the two guns. That, as an action scene goes, that was pretty awesome. Kenny Sparks. I was 7 in 1997. Okay, you young thing, don't rub it in. When Resurrection came out, I ran that VHS over and over. Nice. Kenny Sparks, need to say Major League. Oh, mate, it's good. It's very good. You don't need to like or know anything about baseball, because I, as a kid from Scotland, knew nothing about baseball. Ironically, grew to love baseball when I spent some summers in Canada, got quite good at it, played shortstop. But yeah, you don't need to know anything about baseball to enjoy this movie. It's just a really enjoyable sports comedy from the 80s, so it's not watered down PG levels. It's also, for an 80s comedy, it's also not too bad with, the sexism and racism at all. So yeah, it's actually quite... I wouldn't quite say it's 100% family friendly, but it's pretty good. Omar Epps doing a Wesley Snipes impersonation sounds like an interesting time. Yes, it is an interesting time. Watch Major League 1. If you like it, watch the second one, because it is a serviceable sequel, but it's hard to not get stuck on Omar Epps doing Wesley Snipes playing Willie Mays Hayes, which is the character's name. Old George. Yeah, see, I told you there'd be a couple that you've seen. There's another one that I'll get to that I think you'll have definitely seen. But yeah, you've seen Jurassic World Dominion, so there you go. Blu-ray transfer of Major League made it a struggle to watch. This is Mockingbird. Yep, that was a struggle to watch. She wants to see a 4K version. I highly doubt we'll get a 4K version, but I will spend their money on it if they do make one. Kenny Sparks. The Jurassic World movies are not great. I'm excited for the Mahershala Ali, Dev Patel and Scarlett Johansson movie. Wait, are Dev Patel and Scarlett Johansson, are they signed on to the new Jurassic movie? I missed that news. That's good news. Those are good actors. Yeah, I'm here for that. The Old Yorkshire Geek, the Locust plot seemed extraneous. I think you're being polite. The Locust plot was just shite. Apologies if the kids are watching this. Don't swear. It's not big and it's not clever. Cheekster's talking about Blade. Yeah, they lost its 5th. I didn't know it was up to 5. I thought it was 3. So yeah, I don't know if we're ever going to get a Blade movie. Wesley Snipes must just be sitting back thinking, yeah, you guys can't be Blade. I'm Blade. Like, I'm curious what he thinks. Like, his turn as Blade was iconic. Again, Trinity was not great, but Blade 1 and Blade 2 are amazing. Blade 1, cinema story time here, was the first 18-rated movie that I got into at the cinema. I'm pretty sure it was 1998 that it came out here in the UK. So for those not in the UK, our film age rating system is a little bit different from yours. So you've got PG, which is the same as you, PG. You've got a 12 or a 12A, which, you know, anyone under the age of 12 can go, but they need an adult with them. So that's kind of like the PG-13 that you guys have. Then we've got a 15, which is kind of like your R-rated movie, where you need to be 15 or older to go and see it. It doesn't matter if there's an adult with you. If it's a 15, you need to be 15 to go and see it. Or, you know, you need to have either ID that says you're 15 or older, or you need to look significantly old enough for them to not question your age. And then we've got 18, which would be like your X, I think, which is no one under the age of 18 is allowed to go and see it. So Blade was an 18 here in the UK, comes out in 1998. I would be 14, maybe 15, 14. I'd be 14 or 15, 15 probably, depending on the month. And I had tried and failed previously to go and see other 18s, can't remember which ones, but Blade was the first one that I got into in the cinema. So super excited, super hyped. I'd seen the trailer for it. Obviously this is pre-YouTube days, so I can't remember where I would have seen the trailer, probably just a TV spot or something, or maybe a Green Band trailer on a previous cinema trip. But yeah, got to see, sorry guys, I'm going to burp. That's that lovely iron brew. Got to see it in the cinema. First 18, buzzing, and then obviously the movie plays, and it's an amazing movie, and you've got that amazing opening scene, which, like, to this day still holds up. And some of Wesley's one-liners, like some MFers are always trying to escape up a hill. That's a line I still quote to this day, and I think I used that literally today or yesterday, completely out of context, wondering if the group I was in would get it. No one got it because they're not as cool / geeky as I am. But yeah, Blade's an awesome movie. Why are we talking about Blade again? We keep coming back to Blade. Oh yeah, the comments. So Cheekster says Blade lost its 5th director. That's not great. 2009, when the new Blade, the Mahershala Ali Blade, was announced. Yeah, not great. The Blade situation is extremely upsetting because they managed to get over the biggest hurdle, which was the casting. Mahershala Ali is awesome. That's a very good point, mate. When they announced the Blade movie, everyone was like, don't know about that. But then I think the same day, or like at the same announcement, they announced that it's going to be Mahershala Ali, and everyone was like, ooh, okay, you've got us, we're interested, because the guy's a great actor and you can totally see him as the Blade character. But yeah, it's been 5 years, guys. Cheekster says Warner Brothers are releasing their own Blade movie. Is that supposed to be Blade? That's probably supposed to be Blade, but using a different name. Michael B. Jordan stars in the lead role. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Blade, yeah, figured that one. Zack Attack Reviews says, I'm glad they aren't just rushing Blade out, but I also don't want to waste Ali. I mean, yeah, no one wants them to rush it, but it's been 5 years. Like, you know, come on. Scarlett Johansson was the first signed on to Jurassic Park. I completely missed that news. That's good news. Happy about that. Yeah, hope Blade is happening. Mahershala is literally 50 right now, and they don't have a director, and they're still working on the script. Yeah, Kenny, though, it's been 5 years. Like, does that not give you a little bit of fear? The fact that they're losing directors, they haven't got a script. It's been 5 years. Time will tell, time will tell. Right, let's jump back into the watch list, because we've still got a few to get through. After Dominion, the next day or the next week, or that very same day. Ah, yes, I probably got the dates wrong, but we went to the cinema to see If, and we all absolutely loved it. I can't remember if all 5 of us went to see it, or if it was the 4 of us minus our oldest, minus the 13-year-old. All of us really had a good time with this movie. Up until Hitman came out, this was probably the contender for my movie of the year. But my new movie of the year is Hitman. A review for that is on the channel as well. Kenny Sparks did a review for it that's really good. Check that out also. My review for If is on the channel as well. It's just a few videos down. I think I gave it 8 out of 10. Yeah, probably, or 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd here. I really did enjoy it. I won't go through my full review. It's a live action Pixar would be the best way to kind of describe it in one sentence. I think parents will probably get more out of it than kids. Like, I think a lot of the best Pixar movies work really well because they've got the movie for the kids and the movie for the adults, and they're both playing at the same time, and they weave in and out of each other. This one, I think, probably services the adult storyline and the adult feelings more than the kids one, but the kids still liked it. Like our two youngest, 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, they still enjoyed it quite a lot. So yeah, If, very good movie. Review for that is on the channel as well. Let's see what was next. This is one where I was so close to doing a review on the channel. I think I wrote it, but just didn't get a chance to record it. This is a movie that probably no one in the chat has heard of. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. Jerry Seinfeld writes, directs, and stars. Probably did the dinners and the teas and the catering as well. It's an odd one. It's the fictional retailer. So how to best summarize Unfrosted? Yeah, so it's a fictional telling of the invention of Pop-Tarts. There's a lot of funny people in it. You've got Jerry Seinfeld, obviously of Seinfeld fame. I think you've got Melissa McCarthy. Probably tell us here as well who else is in it. Hugh Grant is in it. He's a funny guy. He's kind of doing his Paddington type shtick. There's a lot of funny people in this movie, but it's not a funny movie. It's honestly not worth your time. I think I gave it 4 out of 10 or 2 out of 5 here on Letterboxd. Like, what did I say in my comments, in my basic review here? Yeah, how they managed to get so many talented actors and comedians to appear in this is mind-boggling. I think people probably owed people favours. That's what it was. It reminded me of this kind of sketch parody anthology movie called Movie 42, which I think thought it was going to be hilarious, but ended up being pretty terrible. It tries to be Airplane, but it's just not funny. Like, Airplane is stupid and funny. This is Unfrosted is just stupid. Yeah, so that was Unfrosted. Not a great movie, but it's on Netflix if you want to check out. Let's see what's next. Yorkshire Geek, this is one for you. You'll have seen this, no doubt. We watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So this is kind of our attempt to show the kids movies that we know they will like, but they would never choose to watch on their own. So we've kind of, over the course of the past couple of months, been doing that here and there. We watched Raiders, probably the month before, and most of the kids enjoyed that one. And then we watched Temple of Doom. I think the oldest one gave up, or I don't think she was actually watching it to begin with. But we kind of made the other two watch it, and they did enjoy it, I think. It's one of those things where movies like this, movies like, the Back to the Future trilogy, the kids would never choose to watch these movies, given the choice. Like, if we let the kids choose, they're going to choose Harry Potter, they're going to choose Despicable Me, they're going to choose, movies like that, because they've seen them and they love them and they know they're good. They're never going to choose a movie from the 80s or 90s that looks like it's from the 80s or 90s, because, why would they? But if you force them to watch it, they probably will enjoy it. Back to the Future would be, I think I talked about that, in the last month's live stream. Back to the Future being the prime example. They loved that movie. It's now, kind of on their rotation of movies that they would watch along with movies like Harry Potter. So yeah, we watched Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. It still holds up. It's such a good movie. Solid 8 out of 10, maybe even a 9 out of 10. Yeah, really good movie. Haven't quite got to Last Crusade yet. We almost watched it the other day, but opted for Top Gun Maverick instead. But that'll be next month's live stream. Yeah, let's jump back into the comments real quick here. Let's see, what do we have? If was a beautiful little movie. It was indeed a beautiful little movie. Zack Attack, haven't seen anyone say good things about Unfrosted. Yeah, me neither, Zack. It wasn't great. I think I watched it over 2 nights because it was a struggle to get through, but I did want to finish it because I thought it would be good. You know, a lot of talented people, but you know, just because you've got a bunch of funny people doesn't mean you're going to make a funny movie. Evidently so. Unfrosted should have been hilariously silly and fun, which I love, but it just didn't work. Unfrosted should have been hilariously silly, funny, which I love. Yes, you do. But it just didn't work. Yeah, it just didn't work. Kenny Sparks, I wanted to watch Unfrosted so I could join the conversation about it, but I'm cool sitting this one out. Yes, you are cool for sitting this one out because it's not a good movie. Top Gun Maverick was great. Yes, I'll get into that in more detail in next month's live stream because we just watched that a night or two ago. But my God, that movie is so good. And the 4K disc is stunning. It's probably like top 3 modern movies quality reference. That doesn't make sense. So if you're talking about, like, you know, what if you're showing your friend or your family like a 4K disc to showcase the quality of 4K, I kind of split that into 2 categories. One being an older movie that's got a great 4K restoration. The example I always turn to is Jaws. And then the other kind of half of that category being a modern movie, where it's like a digital movie that's a great 4K presentation. And Top Gun Maverick would be that disc now. Especially the IMAX scenes. Excuse me, hang on. We'll take a wee non-sponsored Iron Brew drink. Yeah, Top Gun Maverick 4K disc is phenomenal, but we'll get into that on next month's live stream. Wind Grace, hooray, made it probably at the end. We're probably only about halfway through. I'm going through the list of movies that I watched in May, my man, so you're all good. Cheekster, I watched the Indiana Jones trilogy at BFI IMAX last Saturday. Oh, you lucky sod. Had previously only seen The Last Crusade at the cinema, so seeing all 3 on a massive screen was a real treat. Raiders was my favourite. That would be brilliant. I think of the original trilogy, I think Crusade is probably the only one I saw in the cinema as well. Just, you know, age-wise and whatnot. But that would have been amazing, seeing all 3. Although, was it back-to-back? So all 3, like, you saw like your 7 hours, 6 or 7 hours at the movies. Not that I'm against that, because I did that for Lord of the Rings, the extended editions. Cheap plug, there's a video for that on the channel as well from last September. I watched all 3 extended editions at the cinema. So I think I was 13 hours in the cinema with like a half an hour break in between. But that was at an Odeon Lux with the reclining chairs. So that was quite comfortable. The BFI IMAX in London, I've been to that a good few times. It's a giant screen, but I wouldn't say it's the comfiest seats. So in a not weird way, I'm wondering how your bum was by the end of that, Cheekster. And we'll catch up on the comments here. Maverick is one of the best theatre experiences I've had over the past few years. It is. I saw it in the cinema. I think I've only seen it twice. Saw it once in the cinema when it came out, 2021, I think, or was it 2022? And then only watched it for the second time literally a night or two ago. Finally got a chance to watch the 4K disc because Andy, who's Electric Geek on YouTube, on a live stream I did on his channel, we were talking about that and the quality of that, and that reminded me that, oh yeah, I've got Maverick, the 4K disc, but I've not watched it yet. So we watched it, and the movie is brilliant, and the 4K disc is brilliant. Last comment before we jump back onto the list. Kenny says, I think I realised a few weeks ago that the Indiana Jones trilogy is a series I thought I saw because I had so many scenes from it, but I don't think I've actually seen them. Well, you absolutely have to watch them, at least the original 3. Many people pretend number 4, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, many people pretend it doesn't exist. The guys at the Empire podcast have a long-running joke, like a 10-year long-running joke, that it doesn't exist. It does exist, and it's not great. And then the 5th one that came out, crap, I can't even remember, what was it called? I'm drawing a complete blank. Anyway, Indiana Jones, Time of Dial? Dial of Destiny. Time of Dial. Yeah, Dial of Destiny, there's a review for that on my channel. It was probably one of the first movie reviews I did last year when I started the channel. It's not amazing, but it's slightly better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Anyway, Kenny, watch the original 3. They are brilliant. Right, a couple more comments have came in. Let me batter through them, and then we'll quickly go back to the movie list. Cheekster, yes, back to back with 25 minutes break in between. Oof, that sounds painful on the old posterior, but you know, I'm all for it. Cheekster says it flew past Kenny Sparks. Oh my god! So you've not seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, you've not seen Temple of Doom, you've not seen The Last Crusade, but you have seen Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny. You also only saw Alien Resurrection as a child. I need to have a word with your parents, mate. That's not good. That's not good. You need to watch the original trilogy of Indiana Jones movies, because they are head and shoulders and body above the rest of above the other two. Zack Attack Reviews. I like the 4th Indiana Jones movie. I actually like it a lot more than 1 and 2. Wow. You're probably going to get some hate for that. I don't think anyone on the planet would agree, but you know, that's what's great about movies. Like, I don't like Dune 2, and I'm probably the only one who didn't. Got a lot of hate for my review on Dune 2. Most people loved it. I didn't like it at all. You like the 4th Indiana Jones movie? Think you're probably on that island by yourself, but you know, fair play to you for having the opinion. Like it a lot more than 1 and 2. That's all. It's almost like, you know, saying that you like the 4th one is one thing, but then saying you like it more than 1 and 2, that's almost like you're baiting the trolls. So let me know how that goes. Mockingbird. You loved Crystal Skull. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, so I was wrong. Mockingbird and Zack Attack Reviews, you're both on that island. You're both on the lonely island, not the cool comedy band. You're both on that island of liking Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So he's not seen Indiana Jones. Yeah, that's what I would agree with. Def lost some subs because of that take. You mean you did because of Indiana Jones, or I did because of my Dune 2 take? I think I actually gained more subs than I lost from the Dune 2 take, because I think ironically people thought I was one of those, like, you know, like, what do they call it? Not a hate channel, but what, a channel that deliberately like is snarky about movies. But I'm not. I just, you know, didn't like Dune 2. Zach isn't really a person. Yeah, it does seem like an odd opinion to have. Third one is my favourite one. Third one, and for talking Indiana Jones, I would agree. Last Crusade is my favourite, but probably a little bit of Sean Connery bias there for obvious reasons. Kenny Sparks, I really do. I also saw Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter series for the first time this year. Holy crap, mate! What were you just born this year? I mean, you look like, you know, a fully grown adult, but maybe you're an AI and you've just been activated this year. That makes sense. That makes sense, because if you're a grown man who's not seen Lord of the Rings, you've not seen Harry Potter, you only saw Alien Resurrection as a child, and you've only seen Indiana Jones 4 and 5, that wouldn't the only logical explanation is that you are some sort of AI cybernetic organism that was just activated this year. So good luck with that. When Grace, love Crystal Skull. We're talking about the Stargate episode, right? Moving on. Are you Amish? Am I Amish? Or you're probably talking about Kenny. I don't think Kenny's Amish. I don't want to make snap judgments based on appearances, but I don't think he's Amish. Born in 1990, yes, you are a child. Zack Attack Reviews also watched Lord of the Rings for the first time this year. What? The France. Come on, people. Right, a couple more comments and we'll jump back into the movies. Josh Temple, no. Kenny, can't remember what we were talking about, but Kenny, Josh says no. Did you see that? How we doing, my man? Thanks very much for tuning in. I am all good. How are you? How goes the Prime taste tests? Did you see that? As a great channel, does a lot of good movie reviews. He watches a lot of crap horror movies and random movies so that we don't have to, and his reviews on them are always funny and quite good to watch. Right, let's jump straight back into the movies that we watched in May. So after Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, what was next? Takes us to Furiosa. So the full review for that is on the channel. It's only a few videos down on the list, so you can catch that if you want. Wasn't a huge fan of this one. Just kind of felt like it dragged on a little bit. I definitely did a video review, but is my actual review in text form here? No, I'll need to add that on somewhere. Yeah, wasn't a huge fan of Furiosa. Loved Fury Road. Fury Road is a 9 out of 10 for me, but Furiosa just felt... I mean, the problem with prequels is inherent in that, you know that Furiosa's not going to die because she's in Fury Road. You know that Immortan Joe is not going to die because he's in Fury Road. The other characters in it, I'm not going to give away spoilers, but you know, you can put 2 and 2 together and more or less piece together what's actually going to happen. It just felt quite long and paced out, too slow. Like Fury Road was like a 90-minute or 2-hour chase movie. It was relentless. Furiosa was, I mean, deliberately so, it was much slower paced. It even had chapter markers. And I think, not to hate on Anya Taylor-Joy, but I think Charlize Theron did something with that character. Like when you first saw Furiosa, when she's first introduced in Fury Road. Hang on, I'm Rubric. When you first see Furiosa in Fury Road, she's already a fully formed character. You don't need the backstory fleshed out and explained to you. You piece it together from the little tidbits of the character through performance, dialogue, acting. You didn't need the backstory explained. You put it together. Whereas, they go ahead and make a movie about Furiosa's backstory and it just felt unnecessary. And as much as I think public opinion is that everyone seemed to love this movie, it didn't do great at the box office. Something like, the worst box office takings for Memorial Day weekend in the States since, I don't know, the 90s or something like that. Yeah, sadly, it didn't do well at the box office, but I wasn't a fan of it anyway. It does mean that we're potentially not going to get any more Mad Max movies. At least, that seems to be the general consensus because it didn't make a lot of money. But, there we go. Let's quickly jump back into the comments and we will see what the chat is. So hang on, let me jump here. Josh agrees with Wingrace. Can't remember what you're agreeing about, but that's nice that you guys agree with each other. Jimmy Star. Are you calling me a star? I'll take it. Yes, I am a star. Thank you. Oh, because you probably misspelled my name earlier on. Damn it, I thought you were calling me a star. Kenny, there's a lot of movies out there. Got to catch them all. You do indeed. Pokemon movie is pretty good as well. Fury Road is great. Furiosa I found to be very good. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, man, I think most people who saw Furiosa liked it. I didn't like it. But not enough people saw it for it to do anything at the box office. So is that a marketing problem, do we think? Like, if the word of mouth on Furiosa, other than the word from my mouth, if the word of mouth on Furiosa was good, why didn't it, do much at the box office? Zack Attack, Fury Road also didn't do well at the box office. I think Mad Max is not a franchise casuals like. I thought Fury Road did pretty good at the box office. Maybe not. Anyway, let's jump back into the movie list because we're nearly at the end, folks. Thanks very much for sticking with me so far. After a few... Atlas. This is another Netflix original. I did write a review for this, much like Unfrosted. I planned on doing a video review for this, but hang on, while I punch the mic. I had planned on doing a video review for this, but never got around to it. I did take some notes on it, but they're not there. Where are my notes on it? Hang on, talk amongst yourselves for 2 minutes. It might be literally on my notes app. Atlas. Yes, here it is. So I took some, going to be looking this way briefly for this. The Atlas. So it's a Netflix original movie starring J-Lo, starring Jennifer Lopez. It's kind of like The Creator meets Edge of Tomorrow meets Gravity, but nowhere near as good as any of them. It's a bit low budget, even though it's a Netflix movie. It kind of, ironically, it reminded me of a sci-fi version of Lone Survivor, the Mark Wahlberg. In fact, hang on, this is timely. It reminded me of a sci-fi version of Lone Survivor. Sidetrack here. This copy of Lone Survivor, this is a new edition from a new premium retailer called Astro Creations. There's an unboxing for this on the channel that I'll link to, and I'll link to in the description, and you can scroll down and find that as well. So yeah, Netflix's Atlas, starring J-Lo, kind of like a sci-fi version of Lone Survivor, but again, not as good as that. The irony about that movie, well, two things kind of stood out about that movie, and I think the biggest problem with Atlas is the casting. First of all, you've got J-Lo as in the lead, and not that she's a bad actress, she gives great performances in some movies. She's great in Hustlers, in more ways than one. She's great in Out of Sight, movies like that. She seems to be in a different movie. In Atlas, like she's given a performance that's at like a 10.2, whereas everyone else is in a movie that's like at like a 7.5 in terms of intensity, and no one seemed to give her that note, or maybe they did, and she was like, I'm J-Lo, I'm doing what I want. But she seems to be overacting in that, I would say. And then the other issue with the casting in Atlas is you've got Simu Liu, Shang-Chi, and one of the Kens. One of the most likeable, but well, from what I can tell, one of the most likeable, nicest guys there is. Got such a baby face, good guy face, and they cast him as the bad guy. But it just doesn't work. You don't buy him as the bad guy. You buy him as the good guy. Ironically, if they had switched those roles, I think it would have been a better movie. I think if J-Lo played the bad guy and Simu Liu played the good guy and didn't overact like J-Lo did, sorry J-Lo, I think that would have been a much better movie. But it wasn't. So played like a B movie with an A-list cast, kind of. If you would consider, I mean, J-Lo is probably, you would consider A-list. Would you consider Simu Liu A-list? I think, well, I mean, other than I don't think you could. Other than Shang-Chi, he's not been the lead in a big budget movie or a wide release movie. At least I don't think. So would you consider Simu Liu an A-list actor? I think he's a good actor. I think he's really good in Shang-Chi. I think Shang-Chi was brilliant. Very much hoping we get to see him again. Yeah, that's another one, Marvel. Come on. When are we getting a Shang-Chi sequel? When are we getting Blade? And when are we getting a Shang-Chi sequel? Get your act together, Marvel. Please. Thank you. We love you. Yeah. Atlas, not great. Let's see. Let's jump back into the comments real quick. I'm going to go back here and we'll bring up the comments. Kenny, I don't Furiosa has any cultural currency. I think we're missing a word there. I don't think, you've gone to the next one. I don't think Furiosa has any cultural currency. That's a good line, man. I wish I had that for my review. Atlas. Did you see it? Did you watch Atlas? Let me know what you think. Atlas was certainly a film that, in fact, I think, did you do a review on that? I think your review on Atlas might have been, if you did one, I may be thinking of someone else, but if you did a review on Atlas, Kenny, I think that might have been the video of yours that brought me to your channel. So even though the movie's not great, the YouTube algorithm was working and it showed me your video, which was good because then I got to sub to your channel and vice versa, and look at us now, YouTube pals. Isn't it wonderful? Yeah, Atlas, it's a movie that exists. That's, one of the few nice things you can say about it. Win Grace, I already forgot Atlas existed. Yeah, I think Netflix forgot it existed. Cheekster, I enjoyed Furiosa, preferred it over Fury Road. Interesting. Watched it in IMAX and Dolby Cinema, which, as we know from the earlier comments, is a PLF, which stands for, drumroll please, Premium Large Format. Every day is a school day. Thank you, Cheekster. Do you only go to PLF movies? Kenny Sparks, very low budget. Some of the CGI in the beginning was perplexingly bad. I'm assuming we're still talking about Atlas. Yeah, it was an odd one. Some of the CGI in it was actually, for a Netflix movie, some of the CGI held up really well. But then some of the CGI was really terrible. It kind of made me wonder. This is something I took a note of for the review that I never actually got around to recording. But it made me wonder, like, I know that different effects companies, different effects houses handle different shots and different scenes and different sequences in movies. So it did made me wonder, you know, if that was part of the issue with this movie. Like, one effects house were doing these CGI shots, and a completely different effects house were doing these CGI shots, and the difference was palpable, visible, smellable. Some of it was smellably bad. Cheekster, I've got Atlas on my watch list, but it stars J-Lo. Yeah, honest, I give it a miss. It does star J-Lo, but it's not good J-Lo. It's probably not. I don't think it's worth your time, mate, to be honest. But let me know if you do watch it. Cheekster quite enjoyed Lone Survivor. Yeah, it's one of those movies that I don't think it set the box office on fire, but it's a solid movie. There's good performances. It's Mark Wahlberg. He's at his best when he's running and out of breath, like, and then he's a good actor, and he's good in that. It's I'm not going to get into the whole it's not what the true story was or anything. That's a different discussion. Whether it's based on a true story or not, or how accurate it was to the true story, is irrelevant to how good the movie is. And it's a pretty decent movie. And that premium steelbook set is very nice. Again, the unboxing for that is on the channel, and a link to Astro Creations, which is a new premium steelbook retailer as well. Kenny Sparks, Simulo is great, but not an A-list. I think everyone would agree with that. I think he could be an A-lister. I think he's got the potential to be an A-lister, but I think the lack of a Shang-Chi 2 and the lack of any other big movies where he's the lead is kind of hurting his chances of becoming an A-lister. But you might get there. The A-list is very short. It is. It seems to be getting shorter. Jim, how we doing, my man? Thanks for tuning in. Kenny Sparks. Didn't do a review on Atlas, unfortunately. Must be thinking of someone else. What else did you do a review of recently that got me to your channel? It might have been your Hitman review. No, because I'd already had you on my feed from before that. What was it? One of your recent videos kind of caught my attention, and here we are. Wayne Grace, 6 or 7 more directors, and then we'll definitely have a Blade movie. I don't know. I think I'll be doing my roundup movie video for 2027, and we'll still be talking about the Mahershala Ali Blade movie that hasn't been made yet. Cheekstar, I always try to watch all of the big releases in pre-LF wherever possible. I kind of similar. Like, if it's a big budget, big movie, I'll try and catch it at the IMAX laser that's local to me. But usually it's the time, it's the showing times that will dictate whether I see IMAX laser or regular. Like, if a 7 p.m. showing is what suits my kind of like work life family thing best, then I'll go to the 7 p.m. showing rather than waiting for the 8 p.m. IMAX showing. So sometimes both of those things line up, and I get to see the big movie on the big IMAX screen. Whereas sometimes I can't wait for the 9 o'clock show and I need to go to the 3 o'clock show. So that's what I go and see. Zack Attack, unfortunately, his comments about China will stop him from being an A-lister. His comments. Oh, we're talking about Simu Liu. I know nothing about that. That seems vaguely political. I'm not touching that with a barge pole because I know nothing about it. So we will move on. Rarely get to do IMAX, but I do Regal's RPX, which is great. Regal's RPX. RPX is one that I don't know either. I did learn PLF, Premium Large Format, which I did know, but I'd forgot. RPX, is that like is that their own, is that Regal, the Regal chain's own brand of like, IMAX laser, super screen, iSense type thing? Let us know about that, Zach. And we will jump back into the list. We're nearly at the end, folks. Again, thanks for sticking with us. Furiosa is listed again for some reason. I don't know why I've put that down twice. Oh, maybe that's the one where yes, that's the one where I had my whole text review. So there we go. If anyone's interested, my letterboxd is Scottish Geek Guy. I'm, as is my Instagram Twitter, TikTok. Have I got a Facebook? I don't think I've set up a Facebook. But yeah, Scottish Geek Guy on everything. And then the last movie that I watched in May would be The Dead Don't Hurt. Now, this was annoying because I wrote a review for this and I was all set to record it. But the review that I wrote, for some reason, didn't save in my notes app, and I could not for the life of me remember all of the amazing insights that I wrote down, so I kind of gave up on the actual video review for it. This was an interesting one. This was one of the, I think it was an Odeon screen unseen, so it's one of those ones where you don't know what the movie is, you just go and they show a movie that has yet to be released but is coming out soon. And that's what this was. So it's written and directed and produced and starring Viggo Mortensen. At least I think he did. But he definitely directs it and he definitely stars in it. And I'm sure he's a writer on it as well. It's kind of it's one of those kind of revisionist westerns, kind of like Unforgiven, but less violent, I would say. He plays I can't remember because it was it was a while. It was a good 2 or 3 weeks ago. Can't remember characters' names or anything, but he plays one of the leads in it. Vicky Creep plays the other lead. Kind of frontier, turn of the century, 1800s Western. Really good performances, really good dialogue. Like the interplay between the characters is very, very believable. The kind of the harsh landscape looks equally, beautiful, but also harsh because, it is. Very slow paced, but not in a negative way. It's an interesting one. It seems like it must be a labour of love for Viggo Mortensen because, as I said, he wrote and directed it. He ended up starring in it as well. I've heard him talk about it in interviews that wasn't the plan. They did have another actor lined up, but scheduling or something, happened as it usually does. So he talks about this on one of the interviews. They either had to just, delay the production, which could mean, sorry, hang on, let's take another iron brew break. Yeah, so basically he either was going to have to play the lead or potentially never make the movie. So he decided to play the lead. Had to change some of the aspects of the story, change characters' ages and whatnot. But he's a great actor. It's no one's going to deny that about him. I think it's his second movie as a director. I haven't seen his first one. Is it Fallen? It's called. Can't remember what it's called. Definitely haven't seen it. But it's a pretty decent movie. It's one of those movies I don't think I wouldn't have chose to go and see it at the cinema, but I'm kind of glad I did. As I said, it was an Odeon screen unseen, so it was a fairly decent time. Probably gave it, what did I give it on? Yeah, so I'll give it 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, so 7 out of 10 for my out of 10 reviews. Again, I was so annoyed that the Notes app didn't save my written review for it because it was quite lengthy and full of witty insights, no doubt. Yeah, that was annoying. But yeah, it was an interesting one. The Dead Don't Hurt. Viggo Mortensen. Vibes of Unforgiven, but less violent. And that takes us to the end of everything I watched in May. Right, let's jump back over here. There we go. We'll jump back into the comments and then we'll wrap things up. Thanks very much for tuning in, everyone. Let's see. Cheekster usually spend the whole day at the cinema and watch between 2 and 4 movies. Usually book IMAX and or Dolby Cinema first and then the standard formats after. That sounds awesome. I used to do that a lot. Pre-children. Myself and my mate would on a Thursday or a Friday night, usually a Friday night, we called it doing a double. We'd go and see 2 movies on a Friday night. We'd go to like an 8 o'clock-ish showing and then an 11 p.m. / midnight-ish showing. And normally the midnight showing was going to be like the movie that's just coming out. So they used to do midnight showings on a Thursday night / Friday morning. So like 1 minute past midnight technically on Friday, but it's it's Thursday night for us essentially. It would be the midnight showing of the movie coming out that Friday. So whatever the big movie release is that week, you'd see it not on Friday, but well, technically it would be Friday because it's a minute past midnight. but we'd go and see one movie first and then that movie. And that was quite a regular occurrence. But then, you know, kids started coming along and that stopped happening. There was one time, I think I talked about this on the live stream I did with the Electric Geek, which I'll link to below, and go and check out his channel as well. It's very good. They used to have a thing in the UK called National Cinema Day. They kind of still have it, but it's not as good as it used to be, and they don't promote it as much. But we're talking back in the mid to late 90s, any movie was £1. Any movie was £1. So, you know, me and my mates, as, you know, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, we would spend the day at the movies. And on National Cinema Day, we'd go and see 4 or 5 movies, spending £4 or £5. And that was good times. But in adult life, it's rare to go and see more than one at a time. So I'm very envious of you, Cheekster, that you get to do that. Although I have done it a few times in the last year. Like I said, for the Lord of the Rings extended editions, I got to see all 3 back to back with a half-hour break at the Odeon Lux with the recliner seats. Couldn't have done it if it wasn't the reclining comfy seats. That was pretty awesome. So that was 3 in the one day, but 3 4-hour movies. So essentially, I think it was, you know, with the breaks included, it was 13 hours I was at the cinema. That was definitely an experience. I also saw Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2 back to back when Dune 2 came out, again, in a similar fashion to what I was talking about just a minute or two ago. It was, you know, the midnight showing of Dune Part 2, but before that, they showed Dune Part 1. That's maybe why I wasn't as up on Dune 2 as everyone else. I was probably a little too tired by the time that came on, because both Dune 1 and Dune 2, they're 2.5 hours-ish each, and they're not exactly fast-paced movies. So by the time Dune Part 2 came on at midnight, yes, you know, in hindsight, I will give Dune Part 2 another watch. I think I'll borrow the 4K disc off someone and give it another watch. But yeah, I don't think it's going to change my opinion of it too drastically. But maybe watching it at midnight, after having spent 2.5 hours watching the first one, wasn't the best environment for watching it. Kenny, oh no, that sucks. I've recorded entire interviews with the mic off a few times. Yeah, I've done that once or twice as well. I've done that once. There's a review that I recorded and I forgot to record with the main mic, but luckily I've got a backup mic that was recording that, you know, the quality was kind of good enough. And ironically, as you've just said that, I have just realised I am not recording the mic. The audio recorder isn't recording. It's streaming, but it's not recording. So I don't think I'll be able to do any full quality clips, reels from this like I normally do. I'll just have to use the actual YouTube recording. That's so annoying. Yeah, my audio recorder isn't recording. There you go. Josh Semple, I was glad to be in a live streaming of yours, mate. It made my afternoon go quicker at work. Mate, thank you very much. That genuinely means a lot to me. Enjoy the rest of your workday. Of course, time zone wise, I'm forgetting. It's like, what time is it? It's 11 PM here in the UK, but which means it's probably like what, 3, 4, 5 PM, depending on where you are in the States. Kenny Sparks, need to start taking advantage of Screen Unseen again. The last one I saw was Taika Waititi's football movie Next Goal Wins, which I've still not seen yet. It did look quite funny, didn't get great reviews. I think it's actually on Disney Plus. Here in the UK, it's on Disney Plus now. I might watch that tonight, actually. I need to add that to my watch list. No, I'm not watching that tonight. What I'm going to watch after this is, excuse me, another eyebrow burp. Once we're finished here, I'm going to be watching the latest episode of The Boys, because I'm very much enjoying that, and I'm pretty sure today episode 4 of The Boys dropped, I think. So I'm going to watch that. If not that, I think the next episode of the Vice TV documentary Who Killed WCW, I think that dropped today as well. So I'll either watch one or both of them, and if neither of them drop today, as I think they did, but if they didn't, I'll potentially watch Next Goal Wins, because I'm almost sure it's on Disney. Cheekster only started using it at the end of last year or so. Started using what? Only started using it. Using what, mate? The cinema? What are we talking about? The premium large formats? Only start. I hope you're not talking about like classy drugs or anything like that, because this is a family-friendly show, my man. I'm joking, obviously. Kenny, are you looking forward to Kinds of Kindness or A Quiet Place Day One? Kinds of Kindness, yes. I was a big fan of the oh man, the Bella movie with what's her name? Brain is completely dying on me now. What is it? Not Emily Blunt, not Emily Scott. Why can't I remember? I can remember Yorgos Lanthimos, the director of the movie that I'm thinking of, the one that he did before. Poor Things. Thank you very much, Zach. Let me just bring up your comment because that deserves a comment call itself. Yeah, Poor Things. Couldn't remember that. But yes, back to Kenny's question. Very much looking forward to that. In fact, I've got it here. Hang on, it fell. I was that much of a fan of Poor Things. Hang on, get back on mic. I was that much of a fan of Poor Things, I actually bought the vinyl soundtrack because I'm a big fan of movie scores. I've got quite a sizable vinyl soundtrack collection. And the score for this, just showing you some of the artwork here. I've got a full kind of showcase unboxing video of this on the channel as well. But yeah, Kinds of Kindness, looking forward to that one. The dude is definitely making unique movies. And Quiet Place Day One, yep, very much looking forward to that. A little bit trepidatious, I would say, in that it's a prequel, but at least it's a prequel with different characters, so it doesn't have the built-in prequel problem of, well, we know you're going to live, we know you're going to live, we know you're probably going to die. A problem that Furiosa and the Star Wars prequels, had. So this one, A Quiet Place Day One, doesn't seem to have that problem because it's different characters, which I think was the right choice. But the thing that makes me a little bit, not anxious, a little bit wary or trepidatious about A Quiet Place Day One would be the fact that it's not John Krasinski directing. I'm not actually sure who's directing that. Let's jump into IMDb and have a look at that. IMDb, Quiet Place Day One. So let's have a look. Can I go back to this? Yeah, there we go. Just a minute as well while we're here. Michael Sarnowski. Couldn't have told you that if I tried. John Krasinski at least does have a writing credit, which is good. But what has the director done before? Let's tap on his name. He's got a good beard game. I like that. Okay. He did Pig. Now I'm interested. If I had a button that could insert GIFs, I would insert the Leonardo DiCaprio, you had my curiosity, now you have my attention GIF. But I don't have that button. I could make that button. I'm going to make that button for the next live stream. Yeah, so he made Pig, Nicolas Cage movie, which is a weird but wonderful movie. It's one of those ones where Nicolas Cage, as with everything he does, he swings for the fences. Doesn't always hit a home run, but he always swings. Yeah, that's interesting. The guy that made Pig is making the big budget A Quiet Place prequel. Interesting. So yeah, to get back to Kenny's question, very much looking forward to both of those movies. Probably more looking forward to A Quiet Place Day One, to be honest. Like let me go back here. That's definitely a cinema movie. Like I remember, like if you talk about cinema moments and movie memories, watching the first Quiet Place movie in the cinema was a memorable experience, like in a good way, in a positive way. Like just you could hear a pin drop in that screening. It was such a good movie. It is such a good movie. The sequel is good as well, but part of the success of the first movie is the surprise factor. You don't know what this movie is going to be. You don't really know what it's about. But then you watch it, you buy into the visual language and the auditory, the audio sonic language of the movie. Yeah, watching A Quiet Place, the first one in the cinema, what an experience! What a movie! A brilliant score as well. A great performance from John Krasinski. I mean, who knew Jim from The Office would go on to be like a very well respected movie director? who's got quite a decent hit rate. I can't remember off the top of my head all the movies he's made, but he wrote and directed A Quiet Place 1, A Quiet Place 2, and If. All three of those are great movies. Good movies, great movies. A Quiet Place 1 is a great movie. That's an 8 out of 10 easily. Part 2, probably still give it an 8, maybe high 7. Actually, no, I'm going to give A Quiet Place 1 9 out of 10. Like, I don't have an official review for it. It was before I started the YouTube channel. But yeah, If is an 8 out of 10. Quiet Place 1 is a 9 out of 10. Quiet Place 2, let's give it an 8 out of 10. Really enjoyable movies. Yeah, lost my train of thought there. What are we talking about? Yes, sorry, Kenny was asking if I'm looking forward to A Quiet Place Day 1. Absolutely, mate. I will be there opening day unless I'm working or we can't make it work with the kids. I think it comes out, is it this weekend? I think it might be this Friday it comes out here in the UK. So, oh crap, but I'm working this Friday, so I probably won't get to see it unless they do a Thursday midnight showing, which they haven't really done for movies other than June 2. Like, midnight showings used to be normal, whereas now they only do it for really big movies like June 2, Deadpool and Wolverine. I've got my midnight ticket for that. That's another movie I'm very much looking forward to. Let's say we'll batter through the comments as we're getting through here. So Josh Tempo says it's 3 p.m. there. There you go. So I was kind of right. 6 p.m. for me, and you just got off. There is a dirty joke I can make there, but I'm not going to make it. Kenny Sparks, who reviewed Next Goal Wins but didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. I will absolutely check out that review after I've watched it. I tend to try and avoid reviews for movies until after I've watched them. It's just, I've got that thing in me where I'm paranoid that something would be spoiled, even though, you know, people tend to say if it's a spoiler-free review or not. But like I've got quite a high threshold for what I would consider to be a spoiler, to the point where like I won't watch certain trailers if I think they're going to spoil the movie. Case in point, to go off on a Spider-Man Marvel tangent, for Spider-Man No Way Home, I didn't watch any trailers for it. Not one. I didn't want anything spoiled for that movie. And I'm not going to spoil it here, but the surprises in that movie, and not just the obvious ones, but like the less obvious ones, were a surprise for me. Yeah, so why am I talking about that? Kenny Sparks reviewed Next Goal Wins. Yeah, so I'll, if and when I watch the movie, mate, I'll definitely check out your review. The Boys drops on the 20th, which is not today. Why did I think it was today that was coming out? Ah, damn it. I was kind of looking forward to watching episode 4 of the latest season. Been good so far. Been enjoying that. Watching The Boys Ep 3 and the Bray Wyatt doc tonight. The Bray Wyatt doc, yeah, I'm still trying to find where I can watch that in the UK. Like, it wasn't part of the WWE Network pass, so I couldn't watch it via that. I think it's on the Peacock app in North America. So yeah, I need to try and find a UK link for that. If anyone's got a UK link for that, you know, let me know in the comments, or, you know, DM me on Insta. I'm at Scottish Geek Guy on Insta and on Twitter. But yeah, the Bray Wyatt doc, I did want to watch that like when it came out, but can't find the UK stream for it. Sack Attack, poor things. Yes, we got to that. Josh Tempo, going to see day one with my daughter before I help her move out of state next month. How's that as a moment as a dad? Daughter moving out of state. That's mine's are quite a bit younger than moving out age, but I can imagine that's going to be an emotional moment. Some father of the bride tears going to happen there probably. Letterboxed. Cheekster says letterboxed. What are we talking about here? Letterboxed. Cheekster, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, you'd mentioned about you've just started using the app. Yeah, Letterboxd is brilliant. In no way is this channel or myself sponsored by Letterboxd, but I bloody love that app. It's really good to just keep track of everything you watch. So if they do want to sponsor me, much like if I Am Brew wants to sponsor me, I will happily take it. Devoy, how we doing? Thanks very much for tuning in. Just watch your Oppenheimer vinyl review. Great video. Nice to see a fellow Scot will be subscribing. Thank you very much, my man. Thanks for checking that out. Yeah, that's a random video that did quite well on YouTube. Most of the vinyl videos they don't garner much views, but that one for some reason has, so that's always nice. I'm reading your name here. Is that D3 Voy or Deal Voy? Help me out. Let me know how you say your handle there. But yeah, the Oppenheimer vinyl video, that's on the channel, guys. You can search for that if that's of interest to you. That's a cracking soundtrack, a deserving Oscar-winning score by Ludwig Göransson Jorgensen. Terrible at pronouncing names, but he's quickly becoming probably my second favourite composer of movie scores. Can't beat a bit of Hans Zimmer, he's the man, but I would say Ludwig is definitely a kind of respectable second. The Oppenheimer soundtrack, Black Panther score, Oppenheimer score, Black Panther score, the score he did for Mandalorian, like I've got that on my kind of alert list on eBay, waiting for like the kind of like the big box set of the Mandalorian vinyl soundtrack to cost less than, you know, £300 or something like that on eBay, because that's definitely one that I want to get my hands on. Like I've got the picture disc. Is that, can I grab it? No, it's I'm very unorganized with my collection, so it would take me 4 hours to find it. But I do have the picture disc, which has just got like, you know, the 2 or 3 tracks of the Mandalorian. But I do want to get the full season 1 vinyl soundtrack box set, where it's like, I think 6 LPs or something like that, because it looks gorgeous. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Deal Voy. You need to let me know how you say your name. Kenny, the only person coming back from a previous Quiet Place is Jaimin Honsu. Ah, that's interesting. Okay. Well, you know, we know he's not going to die, but at least with the 2 leads, we know that they might die. Who knows? So it usually doesn't hinder the enjoyment of the movie. Still need to see Pig. Yeah, check it out. Although, watch the first 3 Indiana Jones movies first. That's your homework. You need to watch the first 3 Indiana Jones movies above and beyond anything else. Zack Attack reviews. I wish I saw A Quiet Place in the cinema. Oh, like, aye man, it was. Sorry, I got a bit Scottish there. Aye man. Yeah, A Quiet Place in the cinema. Like, if I think about movie moments, like cinema moments in recent years, there's 2 that spring to mind. 3 that spring to mind immediately. One is just as A Quiet Place in general. The experience of watching that movie, but listening to that movie in a really quiet cinema, because everyone's just paying attention with their ears. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Another moment that comes to mind in terms of like recent cinema moments was Endgame, when Cap lifted or recalled Mjolnir. See, I've managed to go this far without it becoming a Marvel love fest and a Chris Evans Captain America love fest, but we got there in the end. Yeah. In terms of recent years, magic movie moments of recent years, A Quiet Place in general, watching it in the cinema, Cap recalling Mjolnir in Endgame, that was awesome, and the Andrew Garfield reveal in No Way Home. And I say that's a magic moment in the cinema, but I actually went to the toilet just before that scene and came back and he was already there. So I kind of missed the reveal to begin with, which will forever be one of the regrets of my life. And I'm not even joking. Yeah, so Quiet Place in the cinema was awesome. Kenny Sparks, I was afraid to open my snacks in the theatre. Yeah, oh, I remember that too. I don't remember what I had. Might have been nachos, or it might have just been like a packet of Haribo's or something, although that's not a usual movie snack for me. But I do remember being so conscious, so self-conscious about any noise that I was making in the cinema when watching A Quiet Place, because it was that you're that tuned in to the scope and the sound of that movie and the experience of watching A Quiet Place in a quiet cinema. Yeah, that was awesome. Cheekster, I may watch A Quiet Place Day 1 in Dolby Cinema, mainly for the Dolby Atmos audio track. Yeah, that's in terms of the various like premium live formats or PLFs. I don't know if we really have any here in Scotland. At least none of my locals really like market or advertise Dolby Cinema or Dolby Atmos as a thing. Like I said, we've got IMAX Laser, we've got General IMAX, and we've got iSense, which I've yet to be impressed by. But yeah, Dolby Cinema or Dolby Atmos isn't something that any of my local cinemas really advertise or market, so I don't even know if any of my locals do that. Cheekster thought Next Goal was disappointing, wouldn't recommend. Yeah, it'll go on my watch list, but it's not high on the watch list. The trailer for that new Dave Bautista movie, Killer's Game, is just one giant spoiler. Ooh, that's interesting. I'll not watch that trailer then. Am I right in saying Air Scotland's own Drew McIntyre, aka Drew Galloway, is also in that movie? I'm sure I saw stills of it. But if the trailer is quite spoilery, that's a good heads up. That's good looking out. I will avoid that then and just, watch it when it comes out. Is that getting a cinema release in the UK though? Or is that going to go straight to streaming or straight to home video? Josh Semple, crazy, not the happiest, but she need to try new things, and her boyfriend's family is where she's moving to, so we will see. Oh, you're talking about your daughter moving out of state. I hope it all goes well, man. That's as a father we've got two girls at home, two girls and a boy at home, and like I said, they're much younger though. They're 13, 10 and 7, so we've got a while before they move out. But I'm a big softie and a crybaby, so I know what I'll be like. Like just the thought of any of them moving out right now is, yeah. Well, hope it all goes well, my man. Zack Attack Reviews. I'm obsessed with Letterboxd. Do you know? I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with it, but I use it all. Like literally, especially for doing these live streams. I couldn't do these live streams, without Letterboxd. I wouldn't remember everything that I've saw. I'd remember the big movies that I've saw, but like if we go back to it, if we go back over to Letterboxd here, yeah, like there's no way I would remember that I watched all of these. And that May was actually a quiet month for movies. I normally average one a day, probably, or at least 5 a week. So I would say May was a quiet month for movies, but if it wasn't for Letterboxd, there's no way I would remember everything that I watched. So, again, not that I'm courting sponsorship, but hit me up, Letterboxd. Cheekster commented earlier, but it seems to be deleted, removed. It's definitely not been deleted because I don't have any. I'm just a small channel. I don't have any admins, and I haven't deleted any comments, so it wouldn't have been deleted, mate. Just followed you on Letterboxd, so you'll be able to get an idea of how my ratings compare to yours. Excellent. I will check them out, my man. Thanks very much. But yeah, no one's deleted any comments because it's only me that's got that power. The power. Unless YouTube flagged it for something and blocked it for some random reason. Kenny Sparks, same. I loved Letterboxd. Yeah, I can't remember how I first found it, but yeah, it kind of me and Letterboxd and I kind of happened at the same time as the YouTube channel. Like I started the YouTube channel, I think May or June last year, just over a year ago. I started the channel, and Letterboxd. It was probably someone on YouTube that I heard talking about it, and then I discovered it and thought, this is brilliant. But it was when I started writing reviews as well as recording reviews. But it was really came into its own for me when I started doing the live streams, because I was like, what did I watch this month? Like I would check my Cineworld app to see what I saw in the cinema. I would check, my Steelbook purchases to see what Steelbooks I had recently bought, because that's probably what I watched at home that month as well, but it's not an exact list. Whereas now, anytime I watch a movie, I try and remember, put it on Letterboxd, and I'll maybe take some notes. Like if it's a movie that I think I might actually do a YouTube review on, I'll take some notes and put them in Letterboxd, and at least give it a score. Out of they do 5, I do it out of 10 on my channel, but it's great for that. I love it, absolutely love it. And couldn't do these live streams, the ones where I'm specifically talking about everything I watched last month. Couldn't do it without Letterboxd. Zack Attack Reviews, watching The Whale, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Dune 2 and Endgame have been my best cinema experience recently. Interesting. Do you know The Whale is a movie I've still not watched? That's on the watch list because I think it's on Prime still. or it was at least for a while. Still not watched The Whale. Really do want to check it out. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Oh man, what a bonkers movie that is. But yeah, big fan of that movie. Still cannot believe that won the Oscar. Like, you know, considering some of the scenes that are in that movie, and we all know which one I'm talking about. But yeah, the fact, and I'm happy it did. I thought it was. I loved that movie. I didn't actually get to see it in the cinema. The first time I saw that movie was on Blu-ray on. I don't think it was even a 4K Blu-ray. I think it was just a regular Blu-ray. Was the first time I watched Everything Everywhere and loved it. Absolutely loved it. Dune 2, didn't love it. The reviews on the channel, if you want to throw some hate at that. Rage baiting. That's the phrase that I couldn't remember from like an hour ago when talking about, like, you know, giving bad reviews to movies. I think someone accused me of rage baiting, and I genuinely not. I just, you know, Furiosa, I didn't love it. And Dune 2, I didn't love it. YouTube wasn't too bad, but like the kind of the tiny reel that I put on TikTok about my Dune 2 thoughts, the fine folks on TikTok did not take to that kindly at all. Endgame have been some of my best cinema experiences recently, says Zack Attack. Yeah, I mean, Endgame deserves its own live stream, so we'll save most of that chat for an MCU live stream at one point, I suppose. But yeah, Endgame in the cinema, especially Cap lifting up Mjolnir. I remember it was a packed, sold out midnight screening. So by the time that scene happens, it's probably 2 a.m., probably 2:30 in the morning in a packed cinema. I just remember I'm sitting next to my mate, who might watch this video eventually one day, but probably not, because most of my friends still don't know I've got a YouTube channel. But that scene happened. You know, Thanos is beating the crap out of Thor, and then it cuts to Mjolnir, and it starts to lift, and you know what's happening, and then it happens, and then my mate and I have been friends. Like, he's the same age as me, so we're both in our early 40s, and we've been friends since we were probably 10, I think. We shared a moment. Like, you know, he's got a partner and kids, I've got a partner and kids, but we shared the moment when Cap lifted Mjolnir. And I'll say no more. Zack Attack, also the end of Talk to Me. Yes, I think that's in. Is it underrated? It's probably too early to tell if that's underrated, but you can probably just see there. In fact, let me bring it down. So, this is a Talk to Me replica at hand. Let's see if that'll focus on that. If I hide my face, hide my eyes. There we go. Yeah. So this is actually kind of a bit of, you know, memorabilia and history for my channel. Oh no, that camera's run out of battery, so I can't put it up there. I'll put it back up here. Actually, just hold on to it. The very first live stream I did was to do with this. It'll be linked on the channel if you click on the live tab. I've only done 4 or 5 live streams in total anyway, but it's the very first one I did. And I got everyone who was watching on the live stream to give me suggestions as to which... Come on, focus. Hang on, to give me suggestions as to which deceased characters to write on the Talk to Me hand. So, loved Talk to Me. Really liked it. I think they're making a sequel, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that was a good experience. It didn't jump out to me, to be honest, to be on the list of cinema moments of the past, 4 or 5 years, but it's definitely a cracking movie. And it was, I think it made my top 5 of 2023, which I think the video for that is on the channel somewhere as well. Kenny says, Zach, all of those were phenomenal movie experiences. Yep, I will agree with everything apart from Dune 2, but not going to troll myself through that anymore. Drew McIntyre acting, nice. I mean, he acts every week in WWE, doesn't he? I mean that as a compliment. iSense as Atmos audio. Okay. In that case, I am not that impressed so far. Yeah, I think I've only seen one iSense movie. I just wasn't that impressed with it. I think I was expecting a super screen IMAX type size, but it wasn't. It was a fairly small screen. But I'll need to probably do more research as to what iSense is and why it's worth your money. But so far, based on one screening, I wouldn't say it is. Maybe that's why I've not seen Raw, man. Calm down. No spoilers. I did see that clip on YouTube, though. Sorry, on Instagram. Zach Attack, me and Kenny Sparks do one of these each month, and I don't remember what released what month all the time, which is why Letterboxd is great. When Grace, my theatre lost power in Endgame right when Tony was about to drive up to the time travel test facility. Oh no. Did you get to go back in? Or was that it for the day? That actually reminds me of whenever, God, this would be probably 20 years ago, whenever the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing movie came out, watching that in the cinema, right at the very end, like during the CGI fight fest, cinema lost power. They didn't restart it. They just kind of like gave everyone a refund and apologised. To this day, I still haven't seen the last 10 minutes of Van Helsing. Don't think I'm missing too much. But yeah, I remember the power cut. They gave us a refund. Everyone just left and didn't bother going back the next day or the next week or at any point to watch it because like it wasn't great, I don't think. Hugh Jackman's awesome though, but yeah, didn't like that. Zach Attack, you don't seem like a rage baiter, you seem very genuine. Thank you very much. It is a carefully honed performance that I'm putting on. No, it's not. I'm definitely not a rage baiter because I didn't know what that was. I googled it after someone accused me of being a rage baiter. I'm not a rage baiter. I just didn't like Dune 2. Don't at me, as the kids say. Accurate. Yep. Don't know what is accurate, but oh no, you're saying the one above, so that I don't seem like a rage baiter. Again, thanks very much, guys. That's awesome. Probably. Which one are we talking about? Yeah, I'll agree. It is awesome. Zack Attack wanted that so bad, but couldn't afford it. Oh, the hand. Yeah. This was an early or a late Christmas, either a late Christmas gift or an early birthday gift to myself. I can't remember whenever it was I bought and paid for it, but there's two. Hang on, let me see if I can hide my eyes from the focus again. Come on, focus on the hand. Focus on the hand. Doesn't seem to want to do it now. Come on. Oh, man. Me, hand. Anyway, I'll hold it here next to my face because it'll be roughly in focus. There was two of these that were released. One was from A24 and was getting purchased and shipped out of the States, I believe, and it was an exact replica of the, or as exact as they could make it, of the one in the movie. This one is actually from Umbrella Entertainment in Australia, and it's blank, and it comes, they ship it with a wee marker pen, but I used multicolour ones as part of the live stream. Yeah, it's special to me in two ways. One, I really did love that movie, and I thought it was such a unique concept. Like, I really did dig that movie. And two, like, the YouTube channel at that point was only 4 months old or something. So I thought to myself, I don't know how far I'll go with YouTube. I don't know how long I'll keep doing this. But I thought, if I do a live stream with this and I'm writing people's names, their YouTube handles, and their suggestion of characters, dead characters to put on the hand, the idea behind the live stream was, which fictional movie character would you want to talk to in the afterlife using the Talk to Me hand? So, the idea is I write the username and that user's character they'd want to talk to, and that becomes a bit of history for the YouTube channel, whether I stopped it the next day or continue doing it for, 10 years. This will always exist. But yeah, it wasn't cheap. The postage alone from Australia was shocking. But like I said, it was a late Christmas / early birthday present for myself, I think. I can't remember when it was. Anyway, it cost a lot of money, but it's pretty cool. Great by doing a sequel and a prequel. I didn't realise that. I did see though that the guys, the Raka boys or whatever they're called, the writer-directors of Talk to Me, they were also lined up to be doing a Street Fighter movie. And I think news just broke today or yesterday that they are now no longer doing a Street Fighter movie. So that's disappointing because I thought that would be cool. Cheekster says, I watched Avengers Infinity War and Endgame midnight, opening night, showing both IMAX with laser. It was an awesome experience. Yeah, I can't remember if any of my showings were IMAX for them or not, but they were both midnight showings, and yeah, they were both awesome. They were both awesome. I've got a brilliant photograph actually of my boy when he would. So when Infinity War came out, he would have been 5 or 6. And like any 5 or 6 year old, he was a big Spider-Man fan. He didn't know that, obviously what happens in that movie, but he also didn't know that Spider-Man was going to come back. So after Infinity War, wee dude was traumatized. Like Spider-Man, his hero, was gone. I've got a picture of him sitting on the bench at Silverburn Cinemas in Glasgow, having just seen Endgame, and he's just like, it's like that, see, this is where one of those GIF buttons would be good as well. The sad Keanu GIF thing, meme, not GIF, meme. That's showing my age. What am I talking about? Yes, I've got a picture of my boy having just seen Infinity War, just, sitting there on the bench. Very sad that Spider-Man was dusted. Cut to a year later, and I've got a video of him absolutely ecstatic watching Endgame when Spider-Man comes back. I'm going to save them for potentially a different video that he might want to do on one of his wee YouTube channels. But it's a moment. It's a moment. And that almost brings us to the end of the comments, guys. I think this is the last comment for now, and then we'll wrap it up. Power was out for about 15 minutes, and it came back up, but it was memorable. I've actually forgotten what you... oh yeah, look go back here to this comment. So, when Grace comment, the theatre lost power during Endgame, but out for 15 minutes, came back up, and it was memorable. So that's good. So at least you got to see the rest of the movie. We didn't get to see the rest of Van Helsing, but I don't think anyone was that bothered. So yeah, it's one of those ones where it's the story of that like eclipses anything that the film could be. So I think I have to just commit to never watching Van Helsing so that I can continue to to tell that story as and when required. So yeah, I think I've committed to never watching the last 10 minutes of Van Helsing. But again, I don't think I'm missing too much. Right, I think it's time to wrap it up. That's probably just about 2 hours, which is way longer than I was expecting. Thank you genuinely so much for everyone who's tuned in. Zach Attack, great stream, dude. Thanks for sticking with us, buddy. Much appreciated it. We've got Devoy. It's pronounced... See, okay, but is it Devoy or Devoy? If you're still there, quickly chime in the comments. So before we wrap the stream up, is it Devoy or Devoy? We need like a dictionary-esque phonetic pronunciation. Either. We'll go with Devoy, like Devon Dudley. We'll go with Devoy. Thanks very much for tuning in, Devoy. Wayne Grace, take care all. Yeah, guys, thanks very much for tuning in. It's been good fun. I didn't think this stream would be that long because the like I said, the list of movies I watched in May wasn't that long. For me anyway, it was a fairly short list of movies to watch. So I didn't think the stream would go that long, but you guys chatting really made the stream for me. Thank you very much. I've been Jimmy, the Scottish Geek Guy. You guys have been awesome. I'm going to casually slide over here so I can push the button on my audio mixer to cue the music. And I will say, catch you on the next one.